very important because we're talking about how to bridge the gap, no, between the school and the home, between the parent and the teacher. The parents are our first teachers, and whether we like it or not, and whether they know it or not, they're already teaching us basic values. By the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they do things, they become examples already. So today, what I'd like to do is make parents aware of what they're doing so that the children don't learn what they don't want the children to learn. We will be more conscious and aware so that what we impart to them is what we really want them to learn. So now the parent is the teacher, and the parent will be aware that she now or he is a teacher and a parent at the same time. Now, when we look at the adolescent or any stage of development, we look at the person holistically, intellectually, emotionally, socially, physically, and morally. We look at the whole person. That's very important because in adolescence, there are so many changes that happen in the different aspects I mentioned. Marked changes, one of the most significant changes in our lives happen in adolescence. So let's look at what are these changes first. Intindihin muna natin who is the adolescent. Then I'll give you a framework of the basic psychological needs of the adolescent as well as the parent and the teacher. Because I believe that if we have a framework to understand ourselves first and then understand the adolescent, the people we're teaching, we will have a better way of knowing what they are learning and knowing what we are teaching and being more effective. Okay, so let's look at the adolescent. Who is the adolescent? There are so many changes that are happening along the way. No? For example, intellectually, the adolescent now is capable of thinking in the abstract. Dati mga concrete thinkers lang sila kung ano yung nakikita nila. No? They can think about it, they can understand it. But now, as Piaget, the classic developmental psychologist, says, thinking takes wings. In other words, they can now think in the abstract. They don't have to look at things to know what to think, but they can think of justice or injustice. They can think of loyalty. That's a big jump, no, in the thinking of the child. It's no longer a child. It's an adolescent who can think in the abstract. So what can happen? They can question our values. They can question the ways we are doing things. Very important for us to allow them to question so that they will be able to have the answers for themselves. The changes in adolescence, very, very important, social. Kasi yun ang pinamalaking change na adolescents. They want to belong to the peers. Very important sila yung kanilang barkada, yung kanilang classmates, yung kanilang friends. Sometimes they feel that they're more important than the parents. So you have to not feel so sensitive about this as a parent. Alamin natin, we have to know that they need to connect with their friends. One of the reasons for adolescent depression and suicide that I've found out is when they are excluded by their classmates or their group mates or their peers or their group, and then biglang hindi na lang sila kasali, it has such a strong impact on the adolescent because that's the most predominant need, is to belong to a group of peers, to feel that they are part of it. To be excluded is very painful. Okay, so the next is the moral. Well, of course, moral, they need to have to recognize values like honesty. No, are they able to be honest? Kasi they can already lie in a very good way. Parang magaling na silang magsinungaling. So we need to make sure that they are able to see the value of honesty and respect. No, nowadays, respect is starting to be parang nauubos ang respect and kindness. No? So respect is very, very important. How do we teach respect to the adolescent? We respect them first. So they know that they are feeling respected. They know how to respect others. Okay? And also very important for the parent, your own self-respect. You have to have self-respect for your adolescent to respect you. First, you have to respect yourself and be respectable. People, you are one person that people will respect because you respect yourself. And then how you respect yourself, you can now respect them also. They also need and are entitled to respect. So respect begets respect. If we are not respectful to them, if we don't respect them, we talk to them in an insulting way, of course, they will not learn how to respect us, and they will not learn how to respect themselves, and they will not learn how to respect others. So respect, the core value now that we are losing, we must strengthen it. So knowing that they indulge in more risky behavior because that's how they are wired, we must do something about it and allow them to be able to decide what to do, decide limits, no respect. I will talk about later the limits of what they can do and boundaries of what they cannot do. That's very, very important because they are bound and they tend to take risks, and that's a given. A lot of behaviors that they do because their emotions now are very, very intense. They get very intensely angry, intensely sad, intensely happy. And that's how the brain is wired, no? In adolescence, intensity of emotion. So we have to teach them how to regulate their emotion by understanding what they are feeling and knowing, being aware of how they're feeling. Now I will introduce to you a framework I've worked through for 50 years, back to basics, the 7 basic psychological needs, which we all need to know in order to understand ourselves better and to understand the adolescents better and other people. A personal significance, yes, that I matter. Every human being, whatever age we are, we have to know that we are important. We are not a non-entity. We are not nothing. We are people who make a difference. No? So the adolescent, the parent, everybody must know that I matter in this world. Children need to know that they matter to their parents. That whatever they do makes the parent aware and the parent listens and gets affected, because the worst thing you can do to another human being, especially the adolescent, is to treat that person as a non-entity, as if he does not exist, as if he is nothing. So therefore that basic need in all of us has to be satisfied. I matter. If I don't do this, something will happen. If I am not here, the world is not a better place. How do I matter in this world as a parent? How do I matter to my children? And most important of all, if I have 5 children, 3 children, how many children I have, all of them, each one of them must know that they matter to me. The question is, how do I make each one of them know that they are important, that they matter to me? So they're all different, no? So one maybe thinks he matters because he is a very loving person. One, they all matter to you because they are your children. But sometimes you might forget a certain child because she's quiet, or that kind of, we naturally react to a child who is very affectionate, but we might forget the one who's just shy and cannot show affection. So we have to be aware that all our children must matter, all of them. In school, the teacher makes the children matter, but one simple thing, call them by their name. Then they know that they exist as far as you're concerned. They are not a non-entity. That's the essential thing. The need for acceptance and the need for unconditional love. It's hard to define love. We will not try to do that, but we will positive self-concept to feel okay about himself. He has to be affirmed by the parents. See, the child looks up to the parent for affirmation. All what you did is good. You're a good person. I'm glad that you helped your sister. I like that you are thoughtful. It doesn't have to be academic or you're good in math, but children, adolescents, adults, no matter how far you have gone, how much you have achieved, we still need affirmation, especially from people who matter to us. The employees need affirmation from their boss. The students need affirmation from their teachers so that they'll be encouraged, they'll develop their self-concept. And of course, children need affirmation from their parents. So the question is, how do you give affirmation to your children? It has to be genuine. Don't say very good if you don't mean it, because children know if you are faking it. So look for something genuinely that you accept, that you appreciate, and you affirm it. In our Filipino families, we're not used to affirming. We're used to correcting what is wrong. As parents, we believe we correct what is wrong. But do we believe that we affirm what is right? Sometimes we just take it for granted. From here on, think about this. I also need to affirm my children when they do something right, not just to correct them when they do something wrong. Affirmation is essential for their growth, development, and optimum well-being, and a good definition of themselves. To be able to see that they are, to know that they are good persons. Okay. The need of everyone, especially adolescents, to have clear and consistent limits. Clear and consistent limits is discipline. And it has to be discipline without insulting, because we're used to discipline. Bakit hindi mo ginawa yan? Ang tamad mo naman. No, we cannot resist saying the sentence, the insult. We have to watch out, because parents, I've observed many parents are not aware that they are always attaching an insult or something put down when the child doesn't do something. Why did you do that? You must be late. No. Okay. Discipline is also important, that we discipline them with respect. We don't violate their dignity by insulting them. And there are 6 C's of discipline that I have formulated. First is if you want the rule to be followed, you have to have what is called conviction. You have to totally believe that this rule is good and must be implemented. If you are not decided about it, you're alanganin, you're indecisive, you cannot implement it successfully. It starts from the inside. You have to ask yourself, am I totally agreeing that this rule is important and I'll do my best to implement it? If you doubt it, you will not be effective. Conviction is the first C for effective discipline. Okay, and then you have to have clarity. Is your rule clear? Might be clear to you, but is it clear to the adolescent? You might know, you might find out if you ask the person, your child, ano ba yung rule na yan? Tell me in your own words. Maybe that's how you will know if they understand it, if it's clear to them. Kasi madalas nangyayari to. Ma, sabi mo ganito. Hindi yan ang sabi ko. Very common. Why? We are not clear. The third is consistency. When you say something that should be done and it's not done, tell them. When you say something correct, it's wrong, tell them. Tell them again and again. As Erickson, the great psychologist, said, when the child grows up with the consistency of the parent telling them, don't do this, don't do this, do this, the child learns to absorb it and becomes his own parent. He doesn't need you anymore because he has internalized it. And that is what we need in this country, because our discipline in this country is external. Pag wala ang police, okay lang. Pag hindi nahuli, okay lang. We have not integrated our discipline to be called self-discipline. That's what we need to work for. Self-discipline. How is that done? First, you don't insult. Because when you insult, nagbablock na, hindi na ma-integrate ng adolescent sa pagkatao niya. So you have to have respect. You have to honor their dignity so that when they absorb your do's and don'ts, they absorb it totally and not blocking it. Therefore, it becomes part of them. And that is called self-discipline. And then we go to the fourth, which is the need for a sense of competence. Again, very essential. Everybody knows that they are must be good at something. Doesn't have to be math or reading. It can be swimming, it can be sports, it can be relating to people. But every person, even you as a teacher, as a parent, when I ask you, who are you? Your answer will contain, if you're a mentally healthy person, your answer will contain something you are good at. You might not say it. You say, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, but in the way you say it, you are proud of something. You are proud that you are good at something, because it's very, very important for anybody to be proud of something. That builds also the resilience. A rock that you can stand on. So among your children, iba-iba ang sense of competence nila. One might be good in singing, one might be good in reading, one might be good in relating to people. For now, make sure you think about each one of them as a parent teacher and know their area of competence. Discover their skill, their competence, their talent, and it will go a long, long way in their resilience and in their building themselves as persons, their self-concept and self-confidence. Essential, no? And about you as a parent, what is your area of competence? What are you proud of? As a teacher, what are you proud of? You have to find it. In most of my sessions, in most of the cases referred to me, I always look for what is the person good at, because that builds the self. Okay. The need for affiliation, meaning the need to belong. We all need to have a sense of belonging. We all need to know that we are connected to each other. We are not alone. We are able to be a community, to help each other, support each other. For the adolescent, the need to belong is very, very big. It's one of the most predominant needs of the adolescent, as I said earlier, is the need to belong, not to be excluded. To know that in this family, I am part of this family. I can contribute to this family. I am not a burden to this family. As a matter of fact, some of the suicides we've encountered is that I'm a burden, so I'm not as well not exist. So children and adolescents, especially, who are now able to think on their own, must know that they belong to family. They also belong to a group, maybe a church group, maybe a sports group. They belong. No, hindi ka nag-iisa is so important. It's a basic psychological need of every human being. The sixth, wide scope of self-expression. What does that mean? We need to develop different ways of expressing our emotions, not just words. No, so the arts, for example, we do a lot of therapy, and a lot of them is expressive arts therapy in the disaster, in trauma, etc. How can I make sense of my deepest feelings? How do I express it? Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you write? Do you do drama? We have to have ways of expressing ourselves. When you do that, you express yourself through art, through dance, through music, through drama. You're able to bring out what's inside you into the outside world and feel more empowered. And also you unburden yourself and you allow yourself to be seen as able to express, no, to be known, to make your emotion come out, so that it's not all there inside and it's not good and it cannot be expressed. There are consequences. No, you get sick, you get angry, you get depressed. Children, even adolescents and adults, need to be able to play. Play means to have fun, to be free, to be able to express what you're feeling without fear. That's very important. So you have to allow your adolescent to explore different ways of expressing themselves. One of the people I was talking to now, seeing digitally, he was able to start playing the small piano because he was starting to get depressed. And now he plays and expresses his emotion. His soul comes out through art. So explore the different kinds of artistic expressions in your family, among your children. Creativity comes out in many ways, but we have to be aware that we have to find ways of expressing ourselves as parents, as teachers, and our children, adolescents especially, need to have ways of expressing themselves. So the sports must not be canceled. the playgrounds for children must not be taken out. That's the worst thing you can do. The arts, the music must not be taken out of the curriculum, must not be marginalized, because arts, music, and play are the ways for developing the well-being of children and adolescents and adults, and also for making them be able to be more able to express what they truly feel, which is very important in life. The need for transcendence, meaning the need to know that there is something beyond what we are seeing now. There's something beyond, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This will pass and it will lead to something better. The ability to have faith, the ability to hope, the ability to know that there is something better than what is going on right now. To keep your faith, the faith that is that we will get into a better world, that this thing that is happening is not permanent, that it will pass, and sana, the new normal, will be a better way of living. Maybe one way to have a better way of living is to have a life that is less anxious, less stressful, less hectic, and there is more joy, more play, more time for being, not necessarily doing all the time. No? The need for transcendence also makes us know that there is a being, a supreme being that is wiser, greater, and better than all of us. For most people like us, it is God, no? Supreme being, the source, the wiser being. We are not the wisest being. There's a wiser being above all of us, beyond all of us, greater than all of us. Now, to tie up with that, I added +1, which is the need for beauty. I believe, because right now I'm in this beautiful place, our forest sanctuary, that beauty of nature is healing. No? It's uplifting. It makes us pause and look at appreciate the creation, and uplifts us. It's a spiritual thing. Adolescents have that. You know, everybody, children have spiritual they are spiritual beings. They know and they feel what is beautiful. They know a beautiful person who is kind. They know beautiful music when they hear it. So let us guard beauty, because when beauty disappears, when we are blind to beauty, there are very bad consequences. We start to have ugly buildings coming up. We start to have backless people ruling us. We start to have the loud and superficial dominate our society. That's when we when we become blind to beauty, because beauty puts us in a more spiritual, a bit better place inside, uplifts us, inspires us, and many times heals us.
Thank you so much, Doctora, for your insights that will truly help our parents and in guiding and effectively connecting with their children, lalong-lalo na po sa 7 psychological needs na inyong binigay and the C's of discipline that will help us to effectively discipline our children in their transition to the adolescent stage. And to formally close our program for today, let us have our medical officer for Head of School Health and Nutrition Unit in the region, Dr. Connie P. Gepanayam, for the closing remarks.
Good afternoon. On behalf of our Regional Director and concurrent OIC, Office of the Undersecretary, Office of the Human Resources and Organizational Development, Wilfredo E. Cabral, Assistant Regional Director Arnulfo Embalani, Education Support Services Division Chief, Dr. Crisanto A. Isiha, I would like to thank all the participants who was able to join us in this activity, despite the situation we are in. Indeed, this regional launching of ARH, Comprehensive Sexuality Education Convergence, for the school year 2021-2022 is a memorable one, because we are in an extraordinary time of our lives. a pandemic which usually happens every 100 years, producing havoc to human lives and changing what we used to do. I want to thank our speaker, Dr. Maria Lourdes Hani Karandang, for her talk on parenting and effective teaching and the video clip on Konektado Tayo, which taught us the importance of listening and understanding our teenagers, their love, sexuality, and relationships. Lahat yan mapag-uusapan basta konektado tayo. All praises to our Master of Ceremony, Ma'am Clarice Peñaranda, and to our technical manager, Sir Don Rey Salvador. And of course, to my SHNU staff who work tirelessly in the fulfillment of this program. Dr. Merlino M. Mateo, Regional Supervising Dentist, Nurse Leia Torrio, and our two nutritionist dietitian, namely Mrs. Maribel Baharo and Jocelyn Pabilio. I will repeat what I have been telling since the start of this pandemic. Nothing can stop us now. Tuloy-tuloy na po itong programa natin, okay sa DepEd, flagship program, Adolescent Reproductive Health. This is for the sake of our learners, the reason why we are here. Good day and mabuhay.
Thank you for that, Doc Connie, and thank you for being the movers of the One Health Week. Okay sa DepEd, sa paaralan at sa tahanan. And with that, let us all joyfully sing our NCR hymn.
Bayang mahal nating lahat, tampok ng NCR. Pusod nitong ating bansa, dulot kaunlaran. Taas nito'y wagayway, ang bandilang NCR. Karunungan at katarungan sa bansa'y itanghal. Mga lungsod ng NCR, sa puso ko'y gangan. Ang adhikais sulong ka, ang tanging NCR. NCR, NCR, dangal nitong bayan. NCR, NCR, dangal nitong bayan. Mga lungsod ng NCR, sa puso ko'y dangal. Ang adhikais sulong ka, ang tanging NCR. NCR, NCR, dangal nitong bayan. NCR, NCR, dangal nitong bayan.
Thank you po all for today for gracing our program, especially for our Facebook Live viewers. And see you again po for tomorrow. Samahan niyo po kami ulit sa programa natin sa School Mental Health. Mabuhay and stay safe po.